Hey there, Tiffany Thomas with wealthytiffany.com, and in today's video I'm going to talk about some house rules that I like to implement when I have roommates. And before we dive in, if you are ready for financial freedom right now, comment freedom below in the comments. And if you don't want to comment freedom, then please give me some other random comment to help out the YouTube algorithm so this video can get out to more people. All right, you guys, let's dive in and talk about some house rules to implement when you have a roommate or someone else that is living with you. Because I know a lot of people have thought about possibly getting a roommate, but they aren't sure exactly how to kind of set up that process or what rules they should be implementing when they have someone else living with them. And I have been living with someone ever since I moved out of my parents' house, so for quite a long time. So I have a lot of experience in doing this. And I've had really, really good experiences with roommates that I've had. And my bad experiences haven't even been that bad. And they have been very few and far between. So I feel really blessed and fortunate in that regard. So I want to share my process on kind of how I set up these rules when I have someone move in with me. The first thing that I do when I am looking for a roommate is create an ad for the roommate. And I post it on Facebook, and there's a website called KSL that's very popular in Utah, but you could also post it on Craigslist or Zillow, a ton of different places that you could post on. But those are my two main sources for getting roommates. And when I create this post, I put in there some standards that I want when I have someone move into my place. So it's very clear when they're looking at the post what kind of standards I am setting for a roommate. So they're not moving in and thinking, oh, what? I have to obey these rules I didn't even know about. So be really clear up front when you're actually looking for the roommate. And some of the standards that I have are pretty strict. I don't think they're that strict really, but it's just standards that I lived by, and I don't want someone in my house not living by these same standards. So I just make it very clear. And, that includes no smoking, no drugs, no alcohol, no guys spending the night. I want to feel safe in my house. And yeah, so I've just set up these basic rules. So I make it very clear when people are moving in, those are the rules. And if you are going to have a hard time abiding by those rules, then just find a different place. I'm not, this isn't the place for you. So I make that very clear. So there's no surprises. And then another thing that I do is I have them sign a contract when they move in. So they agree to any terms and conditions that I have. And you can also include, these types of standards in your contract. So it's legally binding. And, if they break some of the rules, then you have every right to evict them, to have them move out. So put it in your contract. And I do have some other videos about things that I do include in my contract and where to find roommates and different things like that. So I'll post some links below this video if you have more questions about roommates, but these are kind of just the house rules, the way that we function as roommates. And so once they've signed that contract and they know the rules, then I kind of just go over some general guidelines or processes that I have set up. And one of them is cleaning. And I know a lot of people have a big concern about this because they don't want dirty dishes in the sink, or they don't want to always have to be cleaning the microwave out or mopping or cleaning up after someone else's mess. I get that that's a concern. And the way I've set it up, and this has worked for me for years and years, and I know people have different processes, and if that's working for them, great. I'm just going to share what I do. So all I do is I have different chores that need to be done. So for example, the kitchen needs to be cleaned. Like, it needs to be mopped, the microwave needs to be cleaned out, the kitchen sink needs to be cleaned, deeply cleaned, things like that. And I'm not talking about basic kitchen cleanliness, like rinsing your own dishes and putting them in the dishwasher. It's kind of more of the deep cleaning that you do maybe once a week. So I kind of just break it down, and I have one person in charge of cleaning the kitchen. And then another person is in charge of dusting. Things need to be dusted every once in a while. And then I have another person in charge of vacuuming. And then there's also a guest bathroom, a half bath on the main floor. And I have one person in charge of cleaning that. And then one person, in charge of taking the big garbage can out to the curb on garbage day. So there's just kind of, a few different things, and just think about what needs to be done in your house, and just kind of make a list and break it down into, depending on how many roommates you have. So there's 4 of us total that live in my place. So we can break these things down pretty easily and no one feels overwhelmed really. But just make a list of things that need to be taken care of in your house and group things together that you feel would be fair going together. So, maybe someone is dusting and vacuuming and someone else is cleaning the kitchen and taking the big garbage can out to the dumpster. And, instead of like someone's cleaning the kitchen and vacuuming and dusting and then the other person is just taking the garbage out. So kind of, you can break it down into how many ever groups you need to, depending on how many people you're going to have living in your place. And once you do that, all I do is just assign one person each of those things. And we don't rotate. I don't know. I've kind of heard from other people when they've rotated these type of things, if one person cleans the kitchen one week and then it's supposed to be the other person the next week, but that person didn't clean it the first week. So the person that's supposed to be doing it next week is like, oh, it's a disaster. I have like way more work to do than if they would have cleaned it. So I just don't rotate. I just say, hey, you're in charge of vacuuming. And I'm pretty easygoing. So, if they're like, oh, I really hate vacuuming, I'd rather clean the kitchen, then I'm like, okay, sure. Like, I'll take over vacuuming, you clean the kitchen. So I'm not like super harsh and like, no, you're doing this and you have to do it every week. I just tell them, this is what you're in charge of, and we're not rotating or anything. So, if you do get tired of it, let me know, and in a couple of months or a few months or whatever, we can switch if you want to. But I find that has worked really well. Because, if someone is out of town one week, they come back and then they still have their same job and they don't feel bad for not being able to do it while they were gone. So I like doing it that way. I like breaking up the chores that way. And it's worked well. So I don't have a big chart on the fridge saying, okay, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so-and-so needs to do this, 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 this. And we just clean up our own dishes and rinse them, put them in the dishwasher. And, if the dishwasher's full, then whoever puts in the last dish starts the dishwasher. And then whoever has time to clean out the dishwasher just does it. So it's not, I don't know, I don't like implementing a lot of really strict rules and forcing people to do things because no one likes to be told what to do all the time or be forced to do something. But if you kind of just have a stewardship over, certain things and okay, yeah, I'm going to take care of this. And my roommates are going to appreciate that because they're going to do the same thing. I kind of work it that way. And, in talking about this, also when they come to look at the place, it's always very clean. I'm a very clean person. And so when they show up and they see that the place is clean, the expectations are already set that they're going to need to keep the place clean. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I've had some people come look at the place and they've kind of thought, oh, I'm kind of a messy person. Like, I'm probably going to drive her crazy and she may drive me crazy. So this is not going to be a good fit. So, as soon as they walk in that door, they see that the place is very clean and they're like, okay, this is the expectation. Like, I need to keep my things picked up and clean up the dishes after myself. So it's a good idea to set that expectation up front very first, because if they're walking into a messy place, then they think, oh, okay, well, she doesn't really mind a mess, so I can make a mess too. Set that standard right up front so that they're not surprised. And, even when I'm talking with people and they ask sometimes, oh, well, do you have any questions for me? Or, what are some certain things that you like in roommates or whatever, things like that. I usually say, well, I like someone that's clean, and a lot of the times I get, oh yeah, me too. So it's just really nice to be upfront about everything before they move in and someone becomes passive aggressive and starts writing notes or whatever. I don't know. I've heard other people have really bad experiences. Luckily, I haven't really had that, so I'm really glad about that. Okay, so that kind of takes care of the cleaning, the chores, on how I work that. And then as far as laundry, so I have a washer and dryer in my unit, in my place, that they are, of course, welcome to use. That's part of what's included in their rent. And since there are 4 of us, we each have a certain laundry day that we've selected, and then the rest of the days are just free days. So if someone, wanted to do an extra load, they could do it on one of the free days. But that way everyone is assigned a day, and so, they can start a load in the morning before they go to work and then finish it when they get home from work, or whatever. But they have that certain day, so they know, okay, yeah, I can do laundry on this day, and someone else's wash isn't going to be sitting in the washer, and I'm going to have to take it out and put it in the dryer, or put it on top of the dryer and stick my clothes in. It's a nice way to keep things organized, and they know that they can do their laundry on their day. And like I said, if someone needs to switch a day, no problem. I'm not like a strict person, and I'm like, no, I only do laundry on Wednesday, you can't touch it. It's not like that at all. And, if you've already used the washer in the morning and then your roommate's like, hey, are you done? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. So, be flexible, be easygoing about this, or it might drive you crazy, or you might be driving your roommates crazy. So, be a little flexible, but have some things set up already in place so that there is some structure, but be flexible with it. And as far as who is paying for things, basically I pick up everything that we need, and then I just send a text and say, hey, I picked up dishwasher soap and garbage bags, and it's going to be $5 for everybody. And then they just Venmo me or Cash App me the money. And that's how it's done. And maybe you want to work it out a different way. I know some people have just said, okay, everyone pitch in $20 to the roommate fund, and when we run out of something, someone can go get it. But I just find it's easier to do it this way. If I'm already going to be at the store, usually I go to Costco and just buy a big thing of paper towels, a big case of garbage bags, and a big thing of dishwasher soap. And that way we're not having to go to the store all the time and running out of garbage bags and thinking, oh, well, I went last time, you should go this time. It's just easier that way. I'm already going to be at the store, so I just pick those things up and then say, hey, everyone owes this amount, and then they just send me the money. That's how it's worked for us to pay for things that everyone is using, and it's worked out well that way. I haven't had any complaints, so I really like doing it that way. It keeps it pretty simple. And as far as kind of some random things like getting the mail or keeping the door locked, the porch light, I just tell them, usually I am the one getting the mail because I get the most mail, but I've given them all a mail key so they can check the mail when they want to. And, I tell them keep the door locked, at least the bottom locked all the time, because I would, rather be safe than sorry. And we leave the porch light on at night, turn it off in the morning. So kind of just give them a heads up on how you run the household, and be flexible. If they have a better idea, then by all means, listen to their idea, and if it is better, then go ahead and change it. So you don't have to be so strict on everything. And as far as what's mine and what's theirs in the house, honestly, I share all of my dishes, because that would be a lot of dishes to have in the kitchen, 4 different people's dishes. So I just say, please use my dishes, all of the cups, bowls, plates, silverware, pots, pans, whatever, all of that kind of stuff. And if they want, something extra, maybe they peel apples a lot, and so they get an apple peeler and they just put it in the drawer with the rest of the kitchen utensils. We just share all of the dishes. And, one thing I've realized, because I am willing to live with roommates, some of the stuff is going to get broken. And, actually that hasn't happened that much. or dishes getting ruined or whatever. And when it has happened, like my roommate tells me, I'm so sorry I did this, I can replace it. And sometimes I have had them replace it. One of them was, a really nice pan that I had and they had ruined it. But other things like a glass had got broken, I'm like, whatever, don't worry about it. Like we have plenty of glasses. So, be aware that things are going to get ruined. But I don't know, if you kind of just, set these standards in the beginning and let them know up front what your expectations are, it'll solve a lot of problems. If you're more flexible and easygoing, then you're going to enjoy this roommate situation a lot more than if you're very strict and not really flexible. And I'm not saying be flexible on things that are really important to you. For example, I won't tolerate any smoking, any drugs. So, I am very strict on that, but they know that up front, but it's just like things that come up when you're living together, be a little flexible with that. It'll make your roommate situation so much easier. And as far as food goes, we pretty much buy our own food. There's sometimes, things that I'll buy in bulk, and so I'll share it with my roommates. Or if I want to make some cookies, but I don't want to eat all of the cookies, then I'm going to put it on the bar in a certain spot, and they know that's to share and it's up for grabs and they can have some cookies. But we don't really share a lot of food. And before, I did have a roommate that we would share milk together. So we kind of just would rotate buying milk, and we would just drink that, and then whoever was up to buy it next would just be the one to buy it next. But I haven't always done that. So it kind of depends on you and your roommates and the food that you eat. And if some of it is going bad and you know that your roommate's going to enjoy that food as well, then maybe you could share some of your food. And I do have, like salt and pepper sitting out so they can use that if they want to. Or, I have some ketchup in the fridge and they're more than welcome to use the ketchup. I'm not going to use a whole bottle of ketchup. So, there's things like that I'm like, hey, feel free to use this. As far as parking goes, I have a 1-car garage and I park in the garage because I own the place. So I'm going to be parking in the garage. And then they just park along the side of the street. So that's how parking works. And even when I lived at my old place, we had one covered spot and one uncovered spot, and I took the covered spot. I'm the one paying the mortgage, and if something goes wrong, I'm the one that's gonna have to take care of it. So yeah, I'm gonna take the best spot. And luckily in my place, there are 2 living rooms. I have one downstairs and my room is downstairs. So I pretty much use that living room. And then there's a living room upstairs, and they're welcome to have guests over and use the living room. And a lot of times, if they're gonna have people over, they'll say, hey, I'm gonna have Sunday dinner, invite some friends over, you're welcome to join. Just kind of a heads up, it's just kind of a courtesy, which is really nice. So if I was thinking I wanted to have a bunch of people over, either we would combine, or maybe I would say, oh, maybe we shouldn't do it at my place, we can do it at my friend's place. So, kind of give your roommates a heads up on what you're doing, because you do share space and you want to be respectful, and of course invite them to join, which is always nice. And all of the furniture in the house is mine, except for what's in their bedrooms and their bathrooms. So I have furnished the entire place, the dining room table and couch, chair, TV upstairs. So they just are in charge of furnishing their own bedrooms and bathrooms, and it's worked well. And they'll ask, oh, can I eat on the couch? And I say, yeah, go ahead. If you spill, please clean it up. So I haven't really had any super bad experiences. And I think it's just because, like I said before, I've kind of set those standards, and the people that are moving in, I feel good about them moving in, like they'll be a good fit. And so we've been able to get along really well. All right, hopefully you found these house rules helpful. And if you guys have other content that you would like me to create, please put it in the comments below. This actually came from someone that had commented and asked me to do this video. So I am super happy to do content that you want me to be doing. And if you guys liked this video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That will really help me out and get this channel out to more people. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.